All right, good morning, Acadiana. Dave Schultz with the 19th episode of the Schultzycast. Don't seem to be lined up correctly here. Let's see if we can move over a little bit. There we go. We can see Dad in the background. All right, we got Cajuns baseball, Cajun softball, LSU baseball off to Mizzou. Zion with a hamstring injury. And did Robert Kraft really badmouth Bill Belichick? And are you allowed to do that? Also, we need to note, because I have been keeping people up to date, it was not a good eating day yesterday. What I shoved in my mouth yesterday was ill-advised, and I put too much in it. So I've also taken, usually I don't take my pre-workout mix until like before the show, like 6:30. So sometimes the pre-workout mix helps me go to the bathroom before I go work out. I've taken that now because whatever was in me has not come out yet, and I'm in pain. So if I make a sprint, can I eat? I don't know. See, when you record this, you can pause it. I'm just letting you know I got an upset stomach. All right. So if I bolt, maybe the TMI portion of the show, you'll know why. So, yeah, not great. Not great. So I didn't even weigh myself today. Not going to weigh myself tomorrow. Will weigh myself Saturday, hopefully, when everything comes out. All right. Cajuns with a more than a workmanlike win over Southeastern. You know, they had in 2 ball games, they had 1 bad inning, right? They scored 15 runs 2 days ago, 8 runs last night. Connor Higgs is on fire. What did Connor Higgs finish up with last night? 2 for 3 with 2 walks, 2 home runs, and 3 runs scored. Okay. So now, I got his total stats here for the 3 ball games. Okay. So, for the 2 ball games, 5 for 6, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 5 runs, and 3 walks. All right. The amount of guys that get 5 bases, he was on base 8 times in 9 plate appearances. You know, and this is a 5-week game. You want to count how many other guys are going to get on base 9 times in a 5-week game, in a 5-game week, 5-week game. Yeah, it doesn't happen. So he's locked in. He went Oppo Taco last night, and he is on fire. Good to see Blake McGahee 5 shutout innings. He looked good. Holtzhammer he didn't come in. Martinez looked good too. 2 innings, 3 strikeouts. It's good that, his head is still in the game because, somewhere along the way, you're probably going to need him in a big spot. And so, you can go, woe is me, that, he's gone from Friday night starter to midweek middle relief, or, you can be, I think, did he pitch 1 inning? I think he did pitch. Didn't he pitch a 9th inning this weekend? Yeah, he pitched the 9th inning. He get a save. He must have gotten a save. So, important for, was it Sunday? Yeah, it must have been Sunday. So it's good for him that still going, making the adjustments to, D1 baseball. And, he hasn't given up. And again, somewhere along the way, they're going to need Jack Martinez in a big spot. So that's really good, right? Went from Friday night starter to having the blow up coming off the mound in Houston with Gunnar to, almost midweek mop up duty to now midweek middle relief. So again, somewhere along the way, Sun Belt Conference Tournament, regional, Jack Martinez is going to play a big part if the Cajuns are going to move on. So the Cajuns with a win, they actually moved up to 52 yesterday in the Warren Nolan RPI. And the odd part was, right as I was having this conversation with Kevin Foote, and he thinks that the RPI should be baked in because they're on the schedule, but how can they be baked in if you haven't played them yet? But it should be baked in. And last night when we were talking, when they were 53, again, Warren Nolan had him going 45-11. That is 2 more losses the rest of the year. And having an RPI of 20, all right? Which those 2 numbers make sense. But let's see what he is. Let's see what they are right now in the predicted results. 44-12. So that's 3 more losses. I just don't, and an RPI of 25. All right. So those 2 numbers jive with me. I just don't think 3 more losses the rest of the way is, I don't know about feasible, but logical. Let's see. They do have him winning the Friday night against Coastal, but losing Saturday and Sunday, losing the back end of the Southern Miss series on Sunday, and losing to Troy. That's all they got left. Oh, and they got losing Sunday to Georgia Southern. All right. I don't know. We're going to post that Friday Locked on Sunbelt with Gary Gilmore. His rotation is not great right now. They got some guys coming back, so I'm not sure if they're going to be, you're going to throw them in on the weekend. Coastal isn't sure about Sunday yet. I mean, the Cajuns, let's be honest, the Cajuns have a huge advantage that they have a Sunday pitcher, right? LSU has all kinds of issues with Sunday pitching. They've had issues for a decade. Right? And the Cajuns right now don't, because, you have the 3 guys. I mean, the Cajuns could have 3 guys pitching on Sunday if you wanted them, right? You're good with Carson Fluno. If you need to put JT Etheridge there, you might be able to put him there. And then you have Jack Martinez. So the Cajuns right now have a potential of, and then you have Blake McGahee. You have an overabundance of potential Sunday starters right now. And I'm so excited for this Friday ball game. So I usually don't show up until, if I'm at the game, 5 minutes before it starts, that's a long time, right? I'm not spending, used to be, when I'm calling the game, you're there a couple hours beforehand, right? Getting batting practice and doing the scorebook. But I kind of show and go, right? Like if I show up at a Cajuns game last night, it was right before the national anthem, which is about 10 minutes before first pitch. Maybe a little bit sooner. So I saw the national anthem last night. But on Friday night, I will be at the softball game. And remember, the Cajuns are playing 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that's a 5 p.m. first pitch. So we'll be at the softball game watching the baseball game. That'll be that. I will say this, all right, it is a little bit tongue-in-cheek and some serious, right? Because there is, as someone pointed out, it is a losing conversation. I'm not going to win by pointing out the attendance, that there was like 500 last night at the ballpark. They want to open up the Teague for the weekend series, and they'll engage the fans. The fans didn't come out for a live game. You've won 20-21. It's 500 people at the ballpark last night. They announced whatever they announced. That's paid. That's fine. Which to me means 2,800 people had paid to come to the game and didn't show. So maybe more. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. They have won 21 of 22 ball games, and this Friday. So I am pumped up because I'm still unaware of how someone is going to combat the Herman and Langevin combination. All right. On the other side of things, you want to look at it from the Coastal point of view. If they jump on Herman and the Cajuns can't get to Langevin to where they have a lead, or they beat Langevin, is this huge upset for Coastal. From Cajuns' point of view, win that Friday ball game, and then you set yourself up for a series win, maybe more. If you're Coastal, you're like, let's take these 2 guys down, and then they're scuffling a little bit, potentially. That's the way I would look at it. So from a Cajuns perspective, huge ball game on Friday, huge ball game for both, right? I mean, the Cajuns come in there. I mean, their ERA, not as bad, right? Because you give up, 8 runs, not great, but then you give up 1. So goes from 8 over the last 2 ball games to 9. So that's 4.5 over the last 2 games. The Cajuns, I don't know, does the update, do we update it every week? Let's see at the Sunbelt. It was 3.35 after Sunday and like 4th in the nation. Let's see if this updates it. I don't know why I'm going to the Sun Belt, but we are. Let's see here. Statistics. All right, it does update it. All right. It is Coastal. It is interesting. It is Coastal number 1 batting and Cajuns number 2 batting. So that's a thing. And I believe Coastal's like 3rd in pitching, or they were. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. They're not 3rd in pitching. My bad. Coastal's 8th in pitching, 5.60. The Cajuns' ERA is up to 3.38. That's how much the 8 runs given up the other night moves the needle. It doesn't. So it is classic. 3.38 ERA against a 3.05 batting average. The difference is that the Cajuns' batting average is 2nd and Coastal's pitching is 5.60. And I don't know if we've gotten let me see if we got game notes from Coastal yet. Coastal baseball. Again, Gary Gilmore was a little unsure of who he was starting Friday, Saturday. Saturday, he had it. And I thought he said Fluky. Let me see if I can see who that is. Let me see. Because we can go back. Let's see here more. Let's go to schedule here. Let me see. Because sometimes they put the game notes in the schedule. Let's see here. Georgia Southern Cajuns. Oh, hold on a second. They didn't be off consent. It does not have the game notes up yet. So, not yet. All right. See history. I think we can go back to last week against Georgia Southern. It does have the history. Let's see here. The Coastal is 7-11 against the Cajuns with 1 tie. I will give you. Gary Gilmore did say, one of the series. I think may have been the first Cajun series at Coastal. And my memory serves, they had all kinds of travel issues getting there, buses, planes, whatever the case was. So they went. Well, Gary was like, we went 1-1-1 that weekend, and I needed a week off after that. Every pitch was really intense. Remember, the Cajuns beat Coastal 2 out of 3 last year in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So that's where it was. Yeah. Okay. So let me go again. Let me go back to the schedule and the box scores. Just as, again, to remind me, I think I did this already, but I don't remember. Okay, let's see. So Georgia Southern was on Friday. Box score. This was Riley Eichhoff, okay? Didn't pitch poorly, right? Not quite a quality start per se, right? It's 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 in the 3rd inning, scattered 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 3, 3 runs, 2 earned. Coastal scores 2 runs in the 6th and 3 in the 9th for the win. So he left the ball game, and it was, well, I guess when he left the ball game, it was 4-3 Coastal. Oh, okay. Against Georgia Southern. Okay, so you get Eichhoff on Friday, at least based on last week. And then on Saturday, there's Fluky, Cameron Fluky. Again, 3 runs, 2 earned, 4 walks, 7 punch outs, 4 hits, 4 2/3 innings. They lost that ball game 10-3, but when Fluky left, it was 3-2. And then Coastal actually tied things up, make it 3-3. And then the bullpen gave up 5 runs in the 6th. So a 10-3 Georgia Southern win there. All right. So Flukie didn't pitch great, but he didn't pitch as that box score would indicate. And then on Sunday, he's not really sure yet. That's the wrong score. Hold on a second. On Sunday, Coastal with a big 6-run 5th and 6-run 8th. Run rules Georgia Southern 16-4. And on Sunday, you had Henry Weicker, okay? Also didn't pitch great. 2 runs and 3 hits. Walked 1, struck out 4, and 3 in the 3rd innings is not outstanding. I guess it gets you off to an okay start. When they scored 3. Coastal actually led 2-0. Then Georgia Southern scored 3 in the 4th. But then Coastal's bats come up with 6 in the 5th. And basically that made it 8-3, and they ran away with a 16-4 victory. Okay. So quickly, let's go over the statistics because, again, the Cajuns have a huge matchup when it comes to pitching. All right. So who'd we say? Where's the pitching? Overall pitching. All right. So Riley Eichhoff is 4-0, but he's got a 5.44 ERA. That's Friday's starter. All right. Doesn't walk that many people. It's got a 3-1 strikeout walkout ratio. 9 walks and 41 in the 3rd innings is pretty good. Doesn't necessarily strike out a lot. 31 and 41 in the 3rd innings is not a lot. The problem is, if there's a problem, opponents are hitting .311 against him. You know, he's got a 1.45 whip and a 5.44 ERA. All right, so that could be, I don't know, that could be the Friday starter against Herman and Langevin. I mean, that's huge advantage Cajuns, at least on paper. Okay. And then you get, he said Flukie. He said Cameron Flukie was kind of set for Saturday. He's 2-1. This will only be his 5th start of the year out of 13 appearances, 4.36 ERA. In 33 innings, he's walked 18 and struck out 55. So another 3-1 strikeout to walk ratio. The difference is opponents are only hitting .220 against him. So he's much more difficult to hit. And he's got those 55 strikeouts in 33 innings. So that's an issue. Okay. The ERA could be from, some relief appearances that did not go well. All right. And then you got Henry Weicker. At least this was last Sunday's deal. He's 1-0. He's got an outstanding whip. He's got like a .97 whip, and yet he's got a 4.18 ERA. 22 2/3 innings pitched. He's walked 5, so he doesn't walk anybody. Strikes out 20. That's outstanding. Opponents only hitting .217 against him. So it is an interesting matchup. Again, the Cajuns have huge advantage pitching wise. On the other side of things, you do have, let's see where the stat, you do have the lineup that the Cajuns have to deal with. And really outside of LaFleur and Bars don't really match up with the lineup. Sam Antonacci hitting .412 with 11 doubles and 58 runs scored. Blake Barthol, .343 with 14 home runs, 42 driven in. Derek Bender hitting .338 with 40 runs batted in. Graham Brown hitting .320 with 42 runs batted in. Jake Books, hitting .317 with 31 runs batted in. So let's check out what the Cajuns numbers are. And again, the Cajuns are right behind them. And some guys are starting to come around. Amity had a base hit yesterday. Let's see here. Baseball. DeBarge he's got another little hitting streak going. I think he's hit like 12 out of his last 13. All right. So Trey LaFleur, I guess he does qualify. You do have a few guys hitting for average. Trey LaFleur hasn't played as many games, didn't start 2 nights ago. He did play center field last night. That was interesting. He's hitting .402, 6 home runs, 23 runs batted in, but that's not a full schedule. I think Cal DeBarge has played every inning of every game. and he's up for player of the year with Blake Barthel. Maybe Antonacci is going to get it, but do they split the votes in Conway? Kyle DeBarge, 342, 12 home runs, 39 runs batted, and also has scored 40 runs. Connor Higgs, 325. He's driven in only 20. Caleb Stelly, who's come on of late, hitting 300. Pastore's hit, Stelly's hitting 305. Duncan Pastore's hitting 300. John Taylor's down to 293. Jose Torres was hitting 318. He's down to 290, if you want to count down. And John Taylor also struggling a little bit. Amity had a base hit last night, 278. So, again, not quite as the high-end guys for the Cajuns against Coastal, but the Cajuns win with pitching, right? The Cajuns win with pitching. Very few times are they winning 14 or 15-8, right? They win a lot of times 5-2. I mean, last night they won 8-1. I know they had the offense, but they only gave up the one run. Yeah, they only gave up the one run. So really looking forward to that. It is, haven't been around for a little bit. I don't remember last year if there was a huge. Last year we were hoping to get a bye, right? That's what we were hoping for, to get in like the top 4 or something like that. This Friday night ball game is as excited as I've been for a regular season game in a long time for the Raging Cajuns. And that's pretty cool. All right. It is a Schultzycast. Got 35 people, and the stomach is not grumbling. I may need to drink more of this. I don't know. I ate a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have yesterday, and it is not sitting well. We'll see what happens when I go running. I don't know if I buy this, but it seems to be that way. More TMI portion of the show. So doing aerobic, I either run indoors. I haven't run outdoors in a long time, which I need to start doing again, or biking. And when I don't do that, it feels like the digestive system doesn't run its course. And I don't know if it's just the heart rate, the blood going, whatever the case is, it feels like that helps. So hopefully it doesn't happen in the middle of the run. That would be disappointing and a little gross. All right. Cajun softball with a nice bounce back win over Nicholls, 9-0. Laney Crowder hits a home run. They scored 7 in the 6th. My guy Kevin Foote is going over there. We're sitting at baseball, and that's going to take a little bit longer, and there's going to be no run rule. So he goes over there like top of the 6th inning, and it's 2-0 Cajuns, and they score 7 runs in the 6th inning. Apparently, Crater didn't realize it was a walk-off home run for a run rule. The Cajuns had all kinds of issues getting on the board. They did get in and out of trouble a couple of times, didn't give up any runs. It is tough. Foote was talking about, you're talking about this. He said they were talking about this series with Texas State for a month, and then you have LSU. So I don't know if it's tough to get up for LSU, or you're having a letdown after Texas State. You're pissed after you lost to Texas State. Now you lose to LSU, and now you're playing Nicholls. Who knows? They do get Southern Miss this weekend. I presume they will continue their Sun Belt Series record. What is it? It's up to 86, I believe. 86 straight series victories in the Sun Belt, which is, again, I don't think people comprehend how impressive that is. That's going back all the way to 2013. And I don't think it's going to end. Didn't end in Mobile this year, and it didn't end at Texas State. I don't think it's ending with what the Cajuns have left on the schedule. So they have, they will continue. And the question is, do the Cajuns host? Do they want to host? They're at the bottom of the rankings right now. No, so we'll see. Although the predictive stats have them with a higher RPI at the end. All right. And in this case, I'm presuming that the Cajuns win the regular season and win the conference tournament. We'll see how that goes. All right. Meanwhile, LSU is off to Columbia, Missouri, and see if they can get back into this. Watch Moscona again. If they win every series, I think they're going to be in. They're definitely in this SEC tournament. If they go 10-5, that means they took 2 out of 3 against Missouri on the road. It means they took 2 out of 3 from Auburn at home. It means they took 2 out of 3 from A&M at home. It means they took 2 out of 3 from Alabama on the road, and it means they took 2 out of 3 from Ole Miss. They go 10-5, which they have given no indication that they will. But they win every series, they're going to be in the SEC. They're going to be in the NCAAs, because I happen to think, and it's not just LSU. It would be any defending national champion and any prominent team, whether it be, Arkansas or maybe a West Coast team, that they would get the benefit of the doubt. But I also think LSU's, RPI numbers are going to be in 30s. They will be a top 30 RPI team if they go 10-5 the rest of the way. They are sitting at 49 right now. Let's see. They're sitting at 49. All right. I was having this conversation with Foot yesterday. He's like, it's not time to hit the panic button. Yeah, it's time to hit the panic button. He's like, no, not until, you lose a series to Mizzouri. I was like, yeah, but then you hit the panic button. Then it's too late. You've missed the panic button. It's time to hit the panic button now. It's time to panic. All right, whatever that means. At the same time, I think even Jay Johnson mentioned this, and Moscona did as well. It's interesting. You got to pump these guys up. These guys have, there's a confidence thing. And there's always a confidence thing when it's baseball, right? I don't know how often Dylan Cruz went over last year. Probably not too often, but it happens. And, you got to get these guys confident. Let's go just worried about the Friday game. Let's just worry about this first ball game and get in there and get a win. And then we'll worry about Saturday's ball game. And then on Sunday, we'll worry about Sunday. And all of a sudden you look up, we've taken 2 out of 3, or we swept Mizzouri, and we're right back to where we should be. All right. Because you do get that. I know Mizzouri doesn't have a great RPI. I don't know what it is, but it will be wins on the road. It's probably not an awful RPI because it's Mizzouri and it's 87. So it's not awful. But if you lose, I would say this, you lose this series to Mizzouri, I think it's over. I think it's done. Other than sweeping A&M and Alabama, I think the season's over. So I believe it's time to hit the panic button. It's time to hit the panic button right now. Because if you lose to Mizzouri, then it's too late. You've missed the panic button. So we'll see what LSU does. I don't know their rotation. Are they staying with Jump and Holman, or do they switch back? I don't know. It was Holman Jump, and then went Jump Holman. So we'll see what happens this week. Just win Friday, and we'll worry about Saturday on Saturday. All right, it is a Schultzycast. Please subscribe, like, and review as well. We do put it up quickly on Apple and Spotify. We are getting some listeners over there. I'm still having Wi-Fi issues. I get a little, Wi-Fi signal logo, if you will, when it's not great. And let me see what my you can do the speed test. I think I could do it actually on my on the computer as well. I'm getting the 5G, but it's not great right now, Bob. Let me see what this says. I don't know what the problem is. We haven't had a bad connection. No, it says it's doing okay. All right. I'm not sure what the issue is. All right, Zion going down with a hamstring injury. If you listen on the radio show, which we may be getting the band back together, we'll fill you in on that later on. I've been a critic of Zion and his weight. So they get it out there. He's lost weight, 25 pounds. Still think he's too big. So if he's lost 25 pounds, that means he was either 300 or 290, because he's not much less than 265. If he was 290, he lost 25 pounds, it means he's 265. I still think that's 5 to 10 pounds too much, but a fluky play. But when you're out of shape, you get the fluky plays. You go in for a driving layup and you pull a hamstring. So my problem with that is having actually an injury where you can't do aerobic activity. He's going to put the weight back on. And they do play the Kings. They haven't lost to the Kings, even when Zion didn't play. We'll see if Pouty, Brandon Ingram comes back. Timmy Legler for ESPN hammered Ingram on a podcast. I went back and forth with Dave Smith on why Brandon Ingram wasn't in there, and basically they fell behind by 18 because Brandon Ingram was in there, and then when Brandon Ingram came out, they came back. We'll see if Brandon Ingram, can carry the team. Now, it's very disappointing. I did see, interestingly enough, they'd be better with the 14th pick than whatever the 21st pick is, so they'd be better off not winning this ball game against the Kings and beating the Thunder. The problem with this team is not the upcoming draft pick, right? They're not picking in the top 10. So it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't matter if they pick 14 or 21st. They're going to break up. I think they're going to break up the team. I think they're going to break up the band. I don't know if you're bringing Willie Green back. Whatever has been happening the last couple of years has not taken it to the next level, right? They go on this great road trip, and then they come back and lay an egg against the Lakers. They have an awful homestand, but then have a great road trip. There's no there with this team. So they say they need a point guard, but I mean, CJ's been carrying them, but obviously when CJ doesn't play well, they lose. That's a problem. They got the Valanciunas issue, although you got, Antonio Daniels saying when their threes aren't going down, you have an option inside. They didn't use that option much against the Lakers. Whatever the case is, Zion's hurt. It's disappointing because that's what he could have been, right? 40 points and 11 rebounds? Like that. I mean, you can't do that every night, but you certainly could have been doing, 27, 28 points and, 8, 9 rebounds a night. That's what I'm kind of looking for from Zion. And now, everything's 2 weeks with the Pelicans. I mean, I think it's a running joke. We'll reevaluate again in 2 weeks. We got that all last year from Zion, right? Well, 2 weeks. Now, it could be it could be ingrown toenail, and we'll reevaluate in 2 weeks. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to play again this year. I'm not sure if they're going to win on Friday against the Kings. I'm not really sure about it. Well, I will say this. I don't think he's going to play again. I don't know if they're going to win on Friday, but I don't think Zion's playing again this year. We'll put it that way. Even if somehow they come back and win, I mean, are you going to, I thought they would have a shot against the Thunder or the T-Wolves, but that's healthy. I don't think they have a shot against either one of those teams without Zion. I don't think that's going to happen. They probably wouldn't have had, the shot that I thought they would have had would have been, not big to begin with, but they're not taking down Oklahoma City without Zion. That is for sure. All right. The other big story that came out yesterday, and let me see, did I have something else? The other big story that came out yesterday was the ESPN story on how Bill Belichick didn't get the Falcons job. I don't mean to badmouth Raheem Morris, but he took Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick. Okay. First of all, I didn't know you could do this, right? Being in a little corporate world, I very rarely have worked for big corporations. And I have had colleagues leave under less than great circumstances. All right. But the only thing that employees can say or employers can say is, yes, he worked here. So I guess I'm not even sure if you can say anything good. You certainly can't say anything bad, or you're not supposed to. And now Robert Kraft isn't having one conversation with Arthur Blank. He's having 2. And you can't trust him because of Spygate and Deflategate. And he let Brady go. So here's the mistakes to me that Bill Belichick made. Letting Tom Brady go. Okay, so that's mistake number 1. All right. But once you get past that, they should not have tried to win with Cam Newton. The Cam Newton experience was a mistake. Having said that, a couple of turnovers less from Cam Newton, and they actually get into the playoffs. But he should have taken that opportunity to we're going to do that. We should have used the Colts model, right? We lose Peyton Manning, but we get Andrew Luck. We lose Tom Brady, we get Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence has shown flashes. I don't think he's shown brilliance. All right. Much more a flash. I'm not sure why he doesn't get the grief that other quarterbacks are getting on why they're not good enough. All right. He did have the, redshirt year with Urban Meyer, Did have the big come from behind win over the Chargers, but I still not sure how good Trevor Lawrence is, right? All right, in this day and age, let's see here. Has he thrown 30 touchdowns yet? Trevor Lawrence stats. Let me see. Because he kind of has, doesn't he have like Daniel Jones type of stats? Like these are not good stats. These are not great stats. All right. So his first year, that's okay. That's Urban Meyer, 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He's a rookie. All right. 22, he's 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's much better. So you can see the improvement. But this past year, he's 21 and 14. He did rush for 4 touchdowns. But 21 and 14 isn't great. All right. But we didn't know that at the time. We don't have to tear the whole thing down. You keep the parts you want, but you bring in Trevor Lawrence, and then you have your quarterback for the next decade. That's thing number 2. You're ready to go, and then you didn't tank for Lawrence. But then you did get Mac Jones, and wait for it, you went to the playoffs. You did get hammered by a good Bills team. Okay. Which you had beaten earlier in the year, by the way. Not many throws, but it was windy day. But then you just let the offensive line go to crap, and you don't have Mac Jones throwing to anybody. Like the receivers that the Patriots have are brutal. Defensively, the Patriots are fine. Defensively, they're fine. They probably let some guys go this year, but I think defensively, if they had Judon and is it Christian Gonzalez I think they won 4 games last year. I think they would have won 6 or 7. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, they're not, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but you go 10-7 and you're a playoff contender, 9-8, you're a playoff contender. I happen to think the Patriots are closer than most people. I could be delusional. I think they're closer to a playoff team. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender by any stretch of imagination, but you get the right quarterback in there and you get an offensive line and receivers, and I just don't think it takes that long to do that, right? That should be, really, it should be 2 off seasons. This off season and next off season. You draft some guys, you free agent guys, maybe make some trades. Should you take you 2 off seasons? So really, just like, the Jaguars are, you should be going into your 4th season with Trevor Lawrence and you'd be fine, right? I mean, the Jaguars are a playoff contender. I don't think they are a Super Bowl contender, but they are a playoff contender. And that's where the Patriots should be. The point is, I mean, the Falcons, it's funny, Mike Lombardi is like Belichick's, good buddy. And he pointed out, he's like, hold on, the Falcons are bragging that Belichick wasn't in the top 3 of their coaching choices. And guy, they went off on ESPN this morning, right? Like Arthur Blank wants the coach to be family. Arthur, are you trying to have a barbecue dinner or are you trying to win football games? All right. I don't happen to think Belichick is quite the hard ass he may come off to be. Maybe he is, but he's a really good football coach. And I think we've missed the point there. The GM portion of it did not work out the last few years, but he was willing to do that in New England and he's willing to do that elsewhere. And we'll see. As they were saying this morning again on the show, we'll see all the teams that didn't hire Bill Belichick, right? Well, they want Bill Belichick. He's only going to coach for 3 or 4 more years. Okay. Well, if he coaches for 3 years and wins you a Super Bowl, everybody's happy. What's the difference? Oh, then we got to start all over again. All right. Well, see if you can hire a coach raring to go. Who's not going to want to take over? Okay. If he wins you a Super Bowl, who's not going to want to win that? Who's not going to, want to take that over? How often do you get that? Right? I mean, who would that be like? So Shanahan stayed in Denver, right? Shanahan didn't leave when Elway left. But that's not a Super Bowl team anymore when Elway leaves. So that's San Francisco, right? That's what San Francisco is, right? So Bill Walsh left after a Super Bowl winning team. I mean, George Seifert got it, won a Super Bowl, maybe won 2. Yeah, because he won the 4th one. Bill Walsh only won 3. So Seifert won the 4th one and then won a 5th one. the Steve Young one. So the last thing you got to worry about is fine. Part of that was like, well, if you get Belichick in there, you got to start all over again in 2-3 years. Well, if he wins, who cares? And you're not really starting all over again if he wins. Take the reins. He's done all the work. That's a really strange thing. Again, I didn't think you could badmouth a former employee. Didn't think that was the case. Hey, Bill, this is Arthur. Hey, Artie, how's it going? It's going okay. We're looking for a coach. Yeah, I heard. All right, what's up with your guy, Bill? Well, Bill Belichick worked here from, February 2000 to January 2024. Well, that's all I can say. Apparently, that's not all he said. No. We'll see. Again, Raheem Morris he may be a good coach. He's had a shot. I think he was like 33 when he got his head coaching job. Didn't he replace Gruden in Tampa Bay? And that went in the wrong direction. Although I think Gruden had that franchise going in the wrong direction before Raheem Morris took it over. Was he the defensive coordinator for the Rams? No. So we'll see. I guess they said he impressed him. All right. Well, good for someone giving Raheem Morris a second chance. But Raheem Morris a second chance and Bill Belichick? This was even a decision? Okay. And Atlanta's got a long history of winning, don't they? Now, you know what everyone's going to be waiting for? Even if they get to the playoffs, and they got Kirk Cousins, they're going to be predicted to win, I presume, to win the NFC South. And they win, and either they lose in the first round or lose in the second round. But hey, everyone's happy with Raheem Morris. Everyone got along, but we lost again. God, what unreal. Crazy what people priorities are. Now, it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. All right. The stomach lasted. I'm very happy with that. I have less than 45 minutes before the workout. So hopefully we'll feel a little bit better moving forward. Again, we were down to a 2024 low at 212.5, and I'm not getting on the scale. I didn't eat. I just had candy and almonds. 2 different candies and a little container of almonds, and I made it all gone. Now, not great. So I will say the benefit of that is I am not hungry whatsoever. Not hungry whatsoever. All right, so be on the lookout. Didn't do a Lockdown Sunbelt yesterday, mostly because I had an upset stomach. But the football portal is open. We'll see. They're saying that a bunch of guys have left the Sunbelt. I haven't quite seen it yet. So we'll try to keep up with that. But we do have Coastal Carolina head coach Gary Gilmore. So I will put that together, and we will probably preview it, and it'll be good for Friday's episode. So that'll be good. All right. I don't know what we're doing tonight. I guess it's an off night. We get to take a day off, I guess, right? Cajun softball tomorrow, Cajun baseball tomorrow, LSU baseball tomorrow, Pelicans are tomorrow. So a little bit of a low-key Thursday here in Lafayette. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Another 59. I'm getting some views. I still have to do that artwork. I keep on saying that. I got to come up with thumbnails for YouTube. I do. It is one of those it is what it is things. You gotta do the work. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great Thursday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Friday. Thanks for tuning into the Schultzycast.